ladies and gentlemen. It's a beat from Barney's show, telling all they know, bringing stories in the many years they were on the road. Couple laughs on the good and bad memories bold. Wait, Chris became a senior. Yeah, he getting pretty old. From Barney's show, telling all they know, bringing stories in the many years they were on the road. Couple laughs on the good and bad memories bold. Wait, Chris became a senior. Yeah, he getting pretty old.
Well, thanks to Kevin Williams for our new intro song. You may remember him from making the Indianapolis show a few years ago. And as always, I'm joined by the dulcet tones. Or wait a minute, we actually have the dulcet tones today. But internet personality and two-time titleist, Beef Stew. How's it going, Beef?
It's going pretty good, yeah. I think we've now hit the big time. We've got our own intro music. Kevin definitely hit a good note with that one. I like it. He noted several times in the song that you're now a senior, so that was fun.
Yeah, that's great. Appreciate that. That's now I owe him. And but with no further ado, this bring on the this man was rated. He was ranked 35th of all time back in 2008 when they did the greatest 50 players. He has 13 titles, more impressively, in 33 shows. One of the most clutch performers on TV. Also, obviously, everybody talks about the terrible break as well. And he has been the voice of the PBA now for what seems like about 30 years, but it's a little less than that. The one, the only, Randall Pedersen.
Hey, guys, real quick, how long is this going to take? Because I'm in season 10 right now, Shameless, and Frank's currently handcuffed to a bed wearing a diaper. So I'd like to, kind of move this thing along. By the way, the Beef and Barnsey, it sounds like a bad restaurant chain that went out of business. Oh, wait, that's Beef O'Brady. Never mind. But anyway, yeah. No, guys, I'm kidding. It's great to see you, man. How's everybody doing?
I'm excited to have you on, Randy. I feel like me, you, and Chris, as a combination, we did a couple of stints in the extra frame booth. Flo obviously saw the footage because we've never been invited back as a trio.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think they were a little worried we didn't take any prisoners. We even forced one of the extra frame commentators to leave the booth, I believe, at one time. We definitely had a good time with that, for sure.
Yeah. You and I doing a lot of extra frame stuff. Chris and I work in the booth a lot. I think our last stint, Chris, maybe last summer when we did the tour finals in Vegas, and we were kind of working behind the scenes. That went real nice. And so yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of history. Not competing much with Stu because that was already past my prime, but my last title actually came against Chris. So Chris and I did get a chance to compete against each other. And but I think if Fox ever decided to permanently restrain Rob Stone and keep him in California and something happened to Dave Ryan, I think the three of us could really pull off a great telecast.
I think that it would definitely be very highly rated by the bowlers. I'm not sure the sponsors might agree. Political correctness might go out the window very quickly.
Yeah, well, I mean, Chris would last a long time. Stu, you'd probably make it about 3 weeks, and then FCC would come in and cancel you. So, but it would be really entertaining. I'll just be the setup guy and toss softballs to you guys, and you guys hit them out of the park.
It's really funny you should say that because, of course, people who watch the extra frame or flow bowling come up to me and go, "Oh man, I'd love to see you do TV." And I honestly try to explain to them how much harder your job is than sitting in an extra frame when you can just babble along for forever. I go, of course, when I get a minute and a half to explain my point, you think it's more in depth than when Randy gets 22 seconds on a good day.
Yeah.
Like people just don't appreciate that.
It's it's a lot different. And for obviously Chris knows he's worked that side of the street a lot, and not only just with me, but himself doing other shows for CBS Sports Network and stuff. So yeah, I mean I still can't believe I'm still there. I mean, somebody must really like Randy because it's a tough gig. It's a thankless job a lot of times because you could say 10 really nice, great complimentary things about a player. You say one negative thing and they're on you, but never a thank you. Hey, that was great. Thanks for saying that about me, and it's almost like, that's right. Randy's right. But gosh, one bad thing. I remember one time I called Brian Kretzer one-dimensional and his wife called me on Monday.
Maybe
he likes to hook it. That's all he does is hook it. He likes to hook it. He's playing his A game.
Maybe you were just the motivation he needed to start that, like possibly the ugliest looking knuckleball straight shot of all time.
Right?
But, oh my God, he was effective with it.
Exactly. So he needs to thank me for that.
Yeah, that was his title. His title didn't come from curving it.
Exactly. Yeah,
so,
his title came from knuckling it, and I agree with these two. That was one ugly puss knuckle shot that he developed there, but he won his only title.
It was very effective.
Yeah.
So with the shows just going down, we had the Strike Derby, we had the King of the Lanes, and then we had the Tour Finals. What were your thoughts on how they went down? I mean, it was obviously a little bit of a different deal. I imagine it was a little hard for you because at times you're loud even with the crowd.
Yeah.
So with no other noise, that was fun.
It was it was tough. We did a couple of shows back in probably about 5 weeks ago in Jupiter, but it all started at the World Championships, and there was no fans there except for some family members, and it was just real bizarre. But I think that the kind of the mindset going in for me was, I get that there's no fans to create the atmosphere, so I'm just going to create it for the fans watching on television in any way I can. Since there were no fans and I already have a big mouth and I catch the players most of the time anyway, I'm sure they heard every word, not to mention the fact that to my right of the booth, were all of the PBA officials, the owners, and everybody. So they heard every word. And
well, at least Pete did.
What's that?
At least Pete did.
That was a good call on Weber's part, yelling at the CEO of the PBA. I sent her a text immediately following that when we went to break, and she sent me a text back saying, maybe Pete should know who signs the checks. And I was like, yeah, probably. But I'll tell you what, it was vintage Weber, not to, hit the side street, but it was vintage Weber. He stole the show, didn't win, but he still stole the show. And he actually looked great. I mean, he threw it nice. He looked great.
Just one quick second, Randy.
Yeah.
This is when we know that you're a big deal. Look who came in to say hello. Rudy Ram.
Oh my God. I have only one thing to say to Rudy. Taste the soup. The little thing we had back in the day. We never said hello to each other when we crossed paths in the locker room. It was always, hey, taste the soup. Apparently,
we were all wondering who Pete was going to get mad at with no fans in the crowd, but he overcame.
Listen, Pete's no dummy. You go right to the top, Chris, right?
It's a better call when you're 60 than when you're 25, probably.
Oh, good Lord. And, she was the one that was kind of cheering on the players, and you could kind of hear Coley, and she was doing a great job of keeping the guys kind of motivated. And I had just got done saying something, which she heard, which then she laughed, and it was right in the middle of his approach. And, oh, my God, the PDW stink eye to the CEO. Not my approach. Oh my God. Yeah.
And until that point, Pete was like the happiest he's been on a show in like 15 years.
I know, right? And I hit 30. And then I yelled, he did something, and then I yelled down at him, "Who do you think you are? You are," and everybody, we had a lot of fun with that.
All 6 of you laughed, and it was great.
that was including the players that were still hanging around. Yeah.
I do have to be honest. After we went to the I don't know, the made for TV events, I guess, I felt like the World Championships was really weird, like really weird to watch. Like, the players didn't know what to do. The family members kind of didn't know what to do because, like, they were at the back and they're like, well, I don't normally clap for him. But then it was like kind of odd when, like one player got a clap and then, but when it went to the Strike Derby and the one that Rash won, whatever the name of that one was.
They all run together after a while.
Yeah, the Clash.
The Clash. Yeah.
I didn't really notice that there wasn't a crowd there. So I think that's a compliment to you and Dave for the commentary that you put in, because I didn't really notice that the crowd wasn't there in those events. It was very noticeable in the World Championships, though, but the others, I didn't really notice it so much.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Now that baseball is back on, do you find it weird watching baseball?
I find watching baseball weird whether there's a crowd or not.
Okay, probably not a question to ask an Englishman. Chris?
But to be honest, I haven't watched hardly any baseball. I watched the Joe Kelly highlights out of
was great.
Yeah, curiosity.
Yeah, just a little chin music to the cheating Astros. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's cool though that the cheating Red Sox threw at the cheating Astros and everybody on the Dodgers beat their chest. It's like, pretty sure he beat you 2 years ago. Doing the same thing.
Wait, from coming from the guy that doesn't watch baseball. Wow.
Yeah, he knows all this stuff, doesn't he?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, I just.
Kristen says, I'm curious to know if Randy's commentary is scripted or unscripted. He has so many funny things to say.
It's all unscripted. Somebody once asked me, and this was actually recently, one of the guys at our club asked me if I had a teleprompter, and I'm like, no. What I do though sometimes is I'll jot down some little Randyisms that I have stored on my phone. I can go over some of those with you. I actually can go over all of them with you. And then I'll just look at this list, and then if something happens and I find it appropriate, I'll use it. Like Chris has got it, in the back, nastier than a truck stop bathroom. I actually got some hate mail on that. A couple of truckers chimed in. There it is. That's beautiful. A couple of truckers chimed in and said, truck stop restrooms are actually really clean. And I'm like, no, they're not. But, as nasty as a vulture's breath. And, right now he needs more cowbell and just stuff like that. I mean, I'll hear a phrase or I'll think of something, pretty much most of my life has revolved around movie cliches. So I'll try to kind of maybe take something from that and weave it in. And I try not to overdo it. Like, I think a couple of these I kind of came up with on my own. Like, this guy could beat you with a marble and, stuff like that. So, but, it's funny because I was so into stand-up comedy when I was younger. And so now in my car, instead of listening to music, 99% of the time I listen to Raw Dog comedy. And I'll just hear stuff on there and I'll go, I wonder if I could, so I'll just listen to stuff. I come up with one-liners.
All I heard there is that Randy still has Sirius Radio.
Sirius XM? What's it called?
So do I.
Is that no good?
Well, you guys are the three people keeping him in business, I guess.
I thought that. What am I supposed to be listening to?
I don't know. I don't know if you can get him on anything else, though, to be honest.
Well, so, and so most of these shows where I we did a show, it might have been the World Championship, it might have been earlier in the year, but I used a line that said, right now he's tighter than Grandpa's belt after Thanksgiving dinner. And I got a bunch of responses like on social media. Oh my God, that was great. Blah, 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 and this, that, and the other. Then I did a show where I actually wrote this myself and nobody responded. And I was like, wow, I thought that was pretty good. And then I went back and looked at it and I'm like, maybe they don't know who this person is. And he's doing his best Geppetto imitation, carving wood. You know, a big messenger comes across, and I'm like, maybe they don't know who Geppetto is.
I think that's probably likely.
So there you go, Chris. I can actually attest to this because we listen to the show.
All right.
The Fox Sports Channel actually plays the shows when they're on FS1.
There you go. Thanks, Chuck.
So you can actually listen to the shows while you're driving along. So the last one I really remember listening was when we were listening to Rash in Oklahoma, the Rash show, and that was when Kobe Bryant passed away. And we heard that Rash was winning, and then they cut from the bowling to go to the newsroom. We weren't really heartbroken about not having to listen to Rash.
Oh man, hope you're not listening, Sean. Wow.
One of my favorite things was the hot sauce spare challenge with Matt McNeil when Randy fell.
Okay, so now Kristen, that one I kind of ad-libbed because quite honestly, that shit wasn't even hot. Just saying.
Oh dear.
Oh wait, can you not curse on your show?
You can do whatever you want, Randy.
Yeah, because you do it on Extra Frame, Stu. So you know.
And they don't even count as British curse words.
Yeah, until you start dropping C-bombs about every third word, you're not even into English territory.
Are you even trying?
Yeah, you and the Aussies. That's a good word for you guys. You guys like that word.
Randy is the Rodney Dangerfield of bowling.
Not even sure what that means. Oh, I get no respect. Hey, thanks, bro.
Look who's joining us. You are big time.
Sean, I just heard my name. It was Stu. Not surprised. This show's going to win an Emmy. Oh my God, this is great.
Yeah. It's going to win something. I don't know.
Oh, Lord.
The news is we're about the last one left. We'll make up our own award.
So Barnsley, you just turned. You're 50 now, correct?
I'm 50. It's really working out. My PBA 50 career is off and running. Looking forward to joining that about 52, evidently.
Well, Couch says bring it because you ain't got nothing on him. So
yeah, I'll talk to him on the third day. So he needs a cane to get down there. We'll be all right.
Somebody wants to know about your appearance in the movie Kingpin.
Yeah, it was 12 hours of hell standing around with my thumb up my ass doing nothing for the most part. And then getting into these really quick scenes and one-time fee, no royalties. However, I think the best part of that was that, remember that Brunswick was kind of the technical advisor on that show, right? Or on that movie. And so Brunswick actually flew us on the corporate jet.
Oh, nice.
To do the, yeah. So I can't remember who all was on that corporate jet. I think it was me and Voss, and I'm not sure if Roth was on that jet or not. But anyway, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I met. So our fans are fairly brutal, as you can imagine with me and Chris. So Love Jones came in, Hall of Fame, and Stu.
Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame, International Hall of Fame.
Not even that.
Maybe.
And then, but somebody else came back in who butchered Randy's hair.
Well, so for the lighting, I was wearing a hat.
Yeah.
And I got my hair cut really short because it's hotter than Satan's butt here in Orlando. So I was wearing this hat, and Chris said that there wasn't enough light on my face. So I took the hat off and I tried to do something with it, and it turned into that. Wait, it actually looks better now.
You're too pretty to not be seen. So.
Yeah, pretty is not something I am anymore.
Here's one of your buddies.
Chris Johnson, what's up,
you're
bro?
filthier than a gas station restaurant.
I must have dated his sister long ago. Sorry, bro.
Adam Wolfe. Randy looks like he's using Trump's tanning regime.
No, it's just the Florida Heat playing a lot of golf. I don't have anything else to do except be on these whatever you call these shows.
We don't even know what to call them.
I feel like the thing that we realized that we were doing okay was when we did our mock draft.
Yeah.
And the first time we did it, it went like bananas. Like, it was crazy. It was like 50,000 views, whatever. Well, the best part about it, and when we knew that we'd hit the right note, the real Mel Kiper note, was that all the other shows were talking about how crap our draft was and how it was nonsense. But they were talking about it. So then we knew that we did a good job.
Absolutely. It's kind of like the Rob Stone ham bone, right? I mean, he comes out with that, and 50% hated it, 50% loved it, but everybody talked about it. It was brilliant.
True. Very true. Well, earlier you talked about your last title, and I just happened to remember it. Had pretty good feet.
You were there.
No way. Chris had a front row seat to somebody winning.
And a late tackle. That was huge. Barkley got away with one there. Okay, if he gets 6 is not good. 7 is okay. 8's even better. Good force of Randy to get
Killer analysis there by Brian Voss.
Yeah,
Somebody had to talk. Randy was already doing the shows by then.
He called me Pedersen like 12 times.
Barnes County watch.
Now I want you to watch very closely at the end of this. If it shows it, I want you to watch this heartfelt hug that Chris Barnes gave me at the end.
I'll be honest. I think I'd seen that jump up and down maneuver before from somebody else. It wasn't after they'd thrown a good shot, though.
In 3+ years since he's won more than 2.
He missed so far right on that shot and got it back. He put the big
Which ball was this that you're using, Randy?
What's that?
Which ball was this that you were using?
That was the X Factor. That there's a Cambridge credit, whatever, spare ball.
Okay, yeah, it makes sense.
Cambridge
I
credit
did it.
Or whatever.
I'm big earns above the law.
Yeah, I was still married. I was still married then too, so I had to give a shout out to the ex. Now watch. Ready?
Oh no!
Actually, okay. I take it back. That wasn't that bad.
For me, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that wasn't that bad.
I mean, like, he didn't say "get off me,"
and it lasted a lot longer than I remembered.
What a shot.
That was fun.
Yeah, great time. All right.
So, to everybody out there, except Belmo and Chris Prather, who seem to win every single time they're on TV. What was your secret to success out there? Because obviously you have one of the greatest runs on TV, really, with 33 shows and 13 titles. I mean, that's like incredible. I mean, to put in perspective, if Walter Ray had that kind of number, he'd have about 100 titles. So
he'd have like 60 or 70, right?
Yeah. So what was your what was your key to success when you got out there?
I was such a streaky player, and I was one of those big practice guys. And it seemed like it was so difficult for me to get where I needed to be physically. But once I got there, mentally, I was just a monster. And then television was always a real comfortable place for me. It was just, I loved it. I loved the lights. I loved the energy. I loved everything about being there. So when I was put in that situation, and of course I was nervous like everybody is. And, it was
sorry to interrupt you, Randy. Love Johnson, but his facial expression said, "Get off me." Talking about Chris.
Oh my God, this is a great show. You guys ought to have me on more often. But I mean, it
couldn't be Chris, but couldn't take down Roy Munson.
Dude, did he not see the ring? It was class of '79, Iowa. I mean, guy had game.
All right, sorry,
you were still running the ring that big.
But I mean, it was so once I felt right physically, then I felt unbeatable. I felt like there was no way I could lose to anyone, and so I'd go into these telecasts, and it didn't matter what the lanes looked like, or what they were, who I was bowling. There wasn't like one guy that, if there was one guy that I didn't want to bowl at the time, and it was towards the latter part of my career, was Duke. You know, he was red hot and he was hard to beat. But anybody else, it didn't matter who it was. But I just felt my confidence level, once I felt my physical game was where it needed to be to win, my confidence went to a whole nother level. The problem is it was real hard for me to get to that spot. My game had a lot of moving parts. I was so in and out. You know, you watch the guys today. You know, I watch this guy like you and Barnesy. I mean, I watch your games and then I try to equate them to mine, and I'm like, their games are so much better than mine ever was. Then I watch this Chris Prather guy, and I mean, I'm like, I could have never beaten this guy. You know what I mean? It's just like, so I think I did pretty well with what I had. Like I said, I had a lot of things kind of moving around, and my game really changed a lot over the years. If you were to go back and watch some early footage of what I used to look like, and then obviously, you know, the game itself changed a lot when we went from, you know, I actually started throwing rubber balls in '81, and you know, then the urethane stuff, and then we went from that to reactive resin, and again, you know, went through a lot of changes. So, which one is this, Chris? Oh, this was still reactive
against Weber.
Look at my ex-wife there to the left. The hair
didn't look like she was watching.
Yeah. Yeah, that's her. Thanks a lot, Chris. You son of a bitch.
I didn't really shoot them up. I just had Pete and then you. I didn't know. You did have a bunch of strikes. That's about all I knew.
Yeah.
We have a limited budget for pre-production.
So Chris,
my game here actually looks pretty nice, except for the real long extension through it. But everything else looks pretty solid, right? Look at that. That actually looks pretty nice.
I say, from the outside looking in, I always felt like you were the ultimate confidence guy. And once you felt it, one, you took no time, and your record, you know, once you had it, you always bowled great on TV. You knew you were going to bowl great. Now, when you were bowling bad, you would search out advice from Patsy De La Pena.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I didn't quite ever get that part, but
I was always the guy that was looking for the black cat in the dark room that didn't exist, you know? I mean, and just chasing my tail. I did that a lot. That guy was pretty good.
I've got some exciting news for us, Chris. AJ's back.
Oh, God. How long did it take you to do your hair today, bro?
Here's where
now, Chris, if you were to say pretty there, then I would agree with you.
So for a long time, Randy, we wouldn't let Adam Johnson come on the show because he didn't have a title. So someone says, I mean, Randy does have 13 titles more than AJ, and you already had him on. Rick Benoit is here. The great and the good says,
hey, Rick, what's going on, man? One of the best coaches in the world right there. I had nicer hair there too, Chris.
You've always been pretty.
I was much prettier then.
I think you're selling yourself short, to be honest. If Dave Ozio didn't exist, you'd have been known as one of the textbook guys.
Yeah,
you were just at the wrong time.
His game was way better, but he just.
I disagree. But
that guy had so many mental demons; it was crazy. You thought I was searching. He was so good.
That's a little left, but
shut.
He looked pretty right then.
Well, Chris, that was about a 1-to-1 ratio that day.
You and Pete actually made this look pretty good until right about then went, oh, that wasn't even that far in. Oh
yeah, and there she is again. Oh my God! Hang on, guys. My therapist is calling.
Oh shit!
Yes, and I did miss some 5-pin on television, and
I didn't know anybody had done that.
And it was because of her. Just so you know.
Well, on that note,
I love the way they're putting that up as if it was close.
How about that, bro? And that was TSC. It was General Tires. I believe it wasn't Firestone anymore, but I did whiff a 5-pin on the telecast at TSC.
I honestly didn't know that. I didn't know that Chris had brought it up because of that.
Yeah.
I didn't either.
Hey, what is this? What is this pound Randy in the ass session? I mean, what is this? You bring me on as a guest, and then all you guys do is just serve up rectal rockets. I mean, what the frick?
It's almost like it's role reversal from normal.
There you go. AJ's trying to fight back. What a shot.
Who wrote that for you? Yeah.
Thank God for spell check. All right.
Oh God. All right.
Don't worry, AJ.
Blame the X always. I love it, Chuck. Oh, I'm keeping my mouth shut today. No, you're not. It's too late. Hey, so can I bring up something now?
Go for it.
So it was one of the subjects that we were going to talk about. We talked earlier before we went on, Chris, and I didn't know if it was too early to blame the X always, right, Chucky? I didn't know if it was too early to segue into some of the stuff that's said, some of the best one-liners. I know we kind of touched on it briefly, but I was telling Chris the best one-liner in the history of television, of professional bowling on television, came during a Chris Barnes match, and he won the tournament, and it came from Rob Stone. Chris, you'll remember the year. I don't remember the year. I want to say 07, 08, 09-ish, somewhere in there. You want to turn the cell phone off for the show? Anyway, you're bowling Kenny Simard in the title.
Columbus.
What year?
Probably 07. 07. Yeah, that's okay.
Stu, do you recall this show?
I'm thinking I know what the line is. I'm hoping it's the line that I think it is.
So so for the viewers that are watching and tuning in, this absolutely happened. And I hope I don't Fox will never fire Rob. He's too awesome. So I was talking about like Kenny Simard's big hands, because Kenny Simard's got these like gorilla monkey hands, the baseball mitt hands.
Yeah.
Good old Southern boy from South Carolina. And everybody loved Kenny Simard. He's a great guy. And he had that big high backswing, and just really ripped on it. And he's looking to try to win his first title ever. And he's going up against the Hall of Famer, or at the time, the future Hall of Famer, and Chris Barnes. And Kenny gets up to go throw a shot and doesn't let go of it. And the whole crowd is like, ooh, ah. And I look at Rob and I go, wow, Rob, if I ever did that, I'd have to be in traction for 2 weeks. And Rob looks right at me and goes, well, Randy, when in doubt, pull out. And the next thing I remember hearing, folks, lots more to come. Stay with us. We'll be back right after this. And then there's Rob. There's Rob was looking at his notes, and here's me. And he won't look at me, and I'm like, and he finally looks at me, and he kind of does this. What? And I go, you're so fired. And he goes, Randy, nobody's listening to us. That was the best one-liner ever. Now, I've got another one that just recently happened. What was the show that Dick Allen was on earlier in the year?
Well, he was on the 2 last year, the Cheetah.
No, this was this year, beginning of the year.
I don't know.
Well,
it doesn't matter. It's fine.
So, ever since Richie Allen changed his name to Dick, I've had a problem with that, right? So I'll say the artist formerly known as Richie, Dick Allen, right? And for those folks that don't know the story, so here's what was told to us from Dick Allen. The reason why I changed my name to Dick is because since I became a father, I didn't feel that Richie was responsible or mature enough, so I changed my name to Dick. Fair enough. But, you know, the Freudian slip, I would call him Richie half the time. Everyone loves him. Way to go, Chuck. The Freudian slip, I'd call him Richie half the time, and because it was hard for me to get used to. And then the producer would get on me and say, hey, you need to call him Dick. You need to call him Dick. And I'm like, okay. He was on the U.S. Open show. Thank you.
There you go.
So two things happened on that show. One by Rob Stone and one from me. Live on the air, U.S. Open. And wait, did Rob Stone do the U.S. Open show? Because this was Rob Stone and I. So anyway, it doesn't matter what show.
Yeah, because it was on Fox. Yeah.
Moving along. Richie throws his shot on the right lane, moving to the left, and Rob says, Dick heads to the left. Okay.
All right. Well,
and I hit. So folks that are watching in the booth, we have a box that our headsets are plugged into. You have a cough button that kills your mic, and then you have another button that's called talkback, so you can talk to the truck. So if you need something from your producer or something, whatever. So I immediately hit my cough button, and I look over at him, and he just kind of goes, and we keep going. So we go to commercial break, and we kind of got on the subject of Dick Allen and kind of being, you know, like if I were to ask you how many titles this guy had, there's no way that you would have guessed 7, right? Just kind of that unassuming. So here's the road that I went down, and with each word, the hole kept getting deeper and deeper. And then Rob added to it by literally rotating in his chair and going, I'm listening, right? Without saying a word, the shit-eating grin of Rob Stone. So here's what I was saying. And then my intent was perfect. And if he didn't change his freaking name, it would have been fine. This is what I say to Rob live on the air. So, Rob, you've seen a lot of Dick over the years on the PBA tour. And I'm like, oh my God. And now Rob's like literally.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, how do I save this? How do I save this? And I'm like, don't you think he's the most unassuming 7-time titleist on the tour? And Rob goes, yeah, Randy. I mean, you know, it just like it was nothing, right? And I was just like, I was mortified. With each word, it just. And I'm like, oh my God. Now, think about this, guys. If his name was still Richie,
it would have been fine.
Hey, Rob, you've seen a lot of Richie over the years on the PBA. Now we don't have a problem, do we? Thanks a lot.
I think
Dick Allen.
The easy scenario for you is to just have him as a 2-name guy all the time.
Yeah.
I like calling him the artist formerly known as Dick Allen, the artist formerly known as Richie.
Well, like a lot of problems in most men's lives, the bad decisions are pretty much related to Dick. So,
hey guys, listen. I'm sorry. I wasn't going to day drink today, but that's totally off the shelf now. It's on.
Well, you know.
Oh God,
I love it.
Let's see, Randy. What did you do today? Well, I talked with Chris and Stewie. I watched Shameless the last season, and I was day drinking. Oh, productive! Way to go!
Real winner.
You got any bowl me over?
Oh, you can't do that.
Some people have been asking for it in the chat.
I will frickin' disconnect on your asses right now if you
just
play that.
1 second, right?
To be fair, you can disconnect all you want. We'll still be listening to it.
Yeah, the 200 that are on live right now would still know it. The thing is Zach Wilkins was the one who put the CD. He actually has a copy of the CD, and he put the picture in the chat and mentioned it. And I said, oh, I'm sure Randy will be sure to mention that you mentioned this the next time you're on TV. Probably not your best move, Zach.
You know, I mean, you guys are smart enough to know. I mean, you never mess with the guy with the microphone. I mean, can you not explain that to this guy? Please play it.
Frank isn't going to be on a show anytime soon. Up there.
Oh my God.
What was Zach?
Do you have it queued up, Stu? Or no?
I don't have it. No idea where it is. I've just to be honest,
guys.
Every time I see that CD, I forget it existed, and it's like Christmas all over again.
I've forgotten a long time ago. You know, I thought it was going to go platinum, and it didn't go purple. It's nothing. Yeah.
One fun time. I don't know whether Randy remembers this, but years and years ago, we were at the World Series, and they were doing the Storm show in the paddock. We had that curtain set up in the paddock, and they were doing a live show at the end of each day. You know, like wrapping up.
Yeah.
And what was the guy's name who did Louis? Remember Louis? Great guy.
Louis, we met.
Doing it, and he can't figure. He just whatever it is, he's not giving anybody the start. You know that we're on, right?
Right.
I'm sat with Randy, whatever, and we're doing it, and it's me and Randy, and it's like whatever. And Louis like points the camera, doesn't say anything. The red light's on, and Randy's like, "Talk, bro." I'm like. And then Randy speaks, whatever, and then we start. And then it cuts to whatever commercial Storm we're going to do. And Randy turns to me and goes, it's a little bit effing harder, isn't it, when it's live, when you see that camera red light come up. Hey.
A little tougher when the light comes on.
I'm telling you, the most scared I've been in my whole life. Go ahead, finish the story. Sorry.
So yeah, that was there. It was. There was me just looking at the camera like, and Louis going, and I'm like, you didn't tell us we were ready to go, like, or anything. He was just, the red light came on, ding. Randy's like, talk, bro, go. You looked like I was at the light and it had turned green, and you were the guy behind me with the horn. That was fun times. Thanks, Louis.
I looked like the guy. I looked like the guy that was behind you at the buffet, and you were still trying to figure out which salad you wanted.
Yep. Big salad guy, me.
Yep. I did the third guy in the booth thing with you guys in California. And I'd done a few of them, and it was going to be like Norm or I. And I don't know what, we were rotating around. I guess it was Norm and Couch and I were the third guy with you and Dave. And so we're there. It's all the left-handers and Walter. And you're going to talk, and then Dave's going to talk, you're going to talk, and then you guys are going to spin around and go set up to get the game started. And then I got about 30 seconds or so on camera by myself. And then halfway through, it's going to go to a feed where I can go look at it and whatever. But I remember Dave starts talking, and I'm kind of going through it, and you start talking, so I know my cue's up in about 15 seconds, and I go blank. Completely had no idea. You want to talk about sweating? Holy cow. I threw shots for 200,000. I was never as nervous as I was. I had I had no idea what I was going to say. And at the very end, you said something to lead me into it. And I went, oh, yeah. And I stumbled through about 10 seconds, got to the monitor. Oh, my God. That was almost a complete, in my mind, that was going to be the worst thing that had ever happened. In reality, I suppose nobody would have seen it except for we'd be bringing it up now and go, look at that time.
It usually is never as bad as you kind of think or feel it is. But, I mean, I've been there so many times. Early on was brutal for me. I panicked so bad over the on cameras. In the booth was my comfort zone because I could talk bowling. And but the on cameras is so uncomfortable. You're not used to it. It's so unnatural, But after a while, I just kind of got a little different mindset, and I was like, no, man, all your friends are watching, just all your buddies are watching you, and just like entertain them, and just and then I think my biggest breakthrough, me chatting with Randy during a TV show that Chris was on, I love it. I think my biggest breakthrough was our old producer Mike Roth talked to me into learning how to do interviews. And so that was another learning curve, but he was brilliant in his suggestion in that, you have an announcer that can do the announcing or the color analyst for bowling and also go down to the floor and do interviews. A little harder to replace now. So I don't know of another color analyst that leaves the booth to go down to the field to interview players. They have people that take care of that now. But and I got pretty darn good at the interviews, and then that really changed everything for me in terms of my comfort level on television and in front of the camera. To where now it's just like, it's like I'm talking to Stu. It just feels so natural, where early on it felt so unnatural. But Chris, you were talking about your little freeze moment. I had a colossal blunder early on. I believe it was year 2, working with Jim Kelly. May have been year 1, but it was year 1. So year 1, we start out with Coco Taylor forgetting the national anthem, and then Steve Wilson throwing the first shot in the gutter. The new PBA has arrived, and I believe for about 3 weeks, the oil patterns were so brutal. The guys were averaging like a composite 185 on TV. And did your wife just send that to you?
No, somebody in the chat did. So she just keeps your poster on the wall. She doesn't keep your album.
I was about to say, I've got it pulled up if you have a favorite. I mean, we've got Let the Good Times Roll.
That's a good one.
Approach.
Let the Good Times Roll. Yeah, that's a good one. That's
Bowling Alley Sally.
Not a fan. No. I did date her once though. Yeah. So let me finish the story. So
okay.
I grew up watching the PBA Tour on ABC. Chris and Bo. That's what I grew up with as a kid. I watched it. I bowled on their shows as a professional. That's all I knew. So I think it was week 4, Chris. When did you start on tour?
98.
Okay, so you're there. I want to say week 4 was Grand Rapids.
That's right.
Anyway, doing the show with Jim Kelly, who was one of the biggest a-holes ever. Pete Weber shoots 298. We're back. Chris Peters made the call. Do something with the lanes because I'm tired of this crap. Our guys are looking terrible out there. So tweak the lanes and let's get some scores. Weber shoots 298. Remember that? They asked me to. You guys don't recall. Well, he did. He shoots 298. They tell me to go down to the floor for an interview. There's 1 or 2 more matches left. And I go, an interview? What's that? Oh, just you got your IFB. Just get down there. We'll hook you up and ask Pete a question. Okay. So I go down there. Pete's he's more amped than a ferret on a double espresso. The place is just completely blown up. I mean, there's so much energy in the house. And I'm just freaking out.
Yeah.
You guys, I don't know if you're listening or getting ready to do something.
No, we'll listen to you, Randy.
So I asked Pete a couple of questions, right? And then I send it back to the booth. And here's my throw. Back to you, Chris. Meaning Chris Schenkel.
That well.
Because all I ever heard was Bo saying, back to you, Chris, right? Never done it. I get back to the booth and on headset, without making a sound, Jim Kelly looks at me and goes, and then turns his back to me and does the rest of the show with his back to me. Yeah. So there you go. Back to you, Chris.
Yeah. Let you go. You gotta. So one person in the chat way earlier wrote something that really made me laugh. They asked whether they were gonna because the thing is, Chris has his Tuesday pot games. Just local guys go down. They play on some really different. AJ Chapman plays, and whatever.
Yeah, a few guys.
Lavery, whatever. Anyway, well, a few weeks ago, Chris was saying how he'd had to have an air conditioning guy come around. And then the next week, the air conditioning guy was at the Tuesday pot games. So we were like, the chat was blowing up, like dying laughing that Chris is so cheap that he invited the guy to the pot games to try and get some money off the bill. So somebody asked, hey, are you going to invite Randy to the Tuesday pot games so that you can get back some of that money you lost in it?
I lost a hell of a lot more to him than he did to me.
I don't know about that.
Trust me.
And then,
Trust me.
Somebody asked, Chris, was Randy a big trash talker when you bowled with him or against him?
Nah. The tour was, for the most part, actually nobody really talked back then. That was way more of an amateur thing that happened from the high rollers in those action matches. Duke did the most of anybody with the just tactic, more passive aggressive tape, going to the bathroom in the middle of a match, slow play, re-racks.
The best of it.
Balks, the whole thing. I mean, tell Belmo that was the bar. So, since then it's moved around a little bit, and now it's moved back to that again. But yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of that.
I've got a great
one. Says Dell, one of our regular listeners, says, "What is your greatest moment in bowling?"
Oh, I would say it would probably have to be my only major win. It was a show that had, let's see, it was Pete Weber, David Ozio, myself, Marshall Holman, Amleto Monicelli. So all Hall of Famers and me. And I qualified third. I beat Weber. And then I shot 289 at Holman. And then I needed the first hit in the 10th to I needed a double in the 10th to force Amleto to strike, and he left a 4-pin. So it would have to be that.
He is a definite Randy fan. We're not mentioning the situation, but
I don't believe it, actually.
I thought one of the holes ever was the guy who yelled, "I can't believe." What does that mean? I thought one of the
holes.
I thought one of the A-holes. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I had a random guy come up to me at the club the other day and goes, "Hey, I just saw this YouTube video of you. What happened?" And I go, "We really don't need to talk about it. It's okay. It's over."
Yeah.
It's 25 years ago.
That one's been beat to death. Generally, I make pretty good mention of it almost every time we sit in the flow bowling booth together. I mean, what else am I going to do? You're the Hall of Famer with 13 titles. Here I am sat next to you with 2. Like, where am I going to go with this?
You guys, I don't know if you know the rest of the story about that night, though. So it was at Robert Morris College. They built some lanes inside the arena there. And Chris, I don't know if you'd ever been. No, this was before you. This was 95. So inside the facility, there was like kind of this indoor track. And I was just kind of walking around the indoor track maybe a couple of hours before the show, just kind of decompressing. So I went to Catholic grammar school in high school. Don't fault me for that. And I'm walking.
Nice rally.
I'm walking past one of the doors that's slightly ajar, and it says Father so-and-so. And I get this like vision of when Rocky yelled up at the priest and had him throw one down on him before his big fight, right? And I go, well, what can it hurt? I mean, I'm Catholic. He's a Catholic priest. He's a Catholic. So I knock on the door and I say, "Hey, Father, how's it going?" He goes, "Hey, man, what's up? Come on in." And I go in and I explain to him, "Hey, I kind of have a big night tonight. Was wondering if you could kind of throw one down on me." And he said, "You got it, man." So we kneel down and he takes my hands and he throws one down on me. And then I leave a solid 8 to lose by 1 against Ernie.
And he said,
the rest is history. Because for whatever reason, that night, God said no.
It was a learning curve.
I did have another really good story for you, and I just lost it. Oh, it's a Duke story. You brought up Norm Duke. Can I tell this Duke story real quick?
We love Duke stories.
So this is a Duke Marshall Holman story. I don't know if you've ever heard this story. They were bowling. I want to say it was in Grand Prairie, and Grand Prairie just this is back in the early 80s, and they had just installed these automatic scoring systems that were in the back that you had to put the paper in. And then at the ball return, you had the levers that you had to move each time you were up so that it would tell the automatic scorer what lane you were on and what position, right?
Yeah.
And so they told us at roll call, don't put your rosin bag on there because the dust from the rosin bag will get into the little lever thing and it could mess up the mechanism. So here's Norm and Marshall crossing together, and Norm tells the story way better than I do. So during practice, Norm puts his rosin bag on the thingy, and Marshall comes up and goes, whose is this? And Norm goes, oh, that's mine. Yeah, it doesn't go here. It can go here, it can go back here, but it does not go here. And Norm's like, oh, okay, sorry. Sorry about that. Finish practice. They start qualifying. First shot, rosin bag on the thingy. Marshall, Normie, this does not go here. Here, not here. Oh, Norm. Oh, so sorry. 5 frames later, back on the thingy. Norm throws his shot, turns around, and his rosin bag hits him right in the stomach. Marshall chucked it at him. I mean, I fell on the ground when I heard that. I go, you've got to be. He goes, nope. He threw a fastball, hit me right in the solar plexus. I'm like, oh my God. I go, what did you do? He goes, I didn't put my rosin bag back up there. So yeah, anyway, there's been a lot of good stories, a lot of which we can't tell on this show.
We may have to come back around to them, but I do have a tea time, so we need to do a quick frame.
Oh, and I canceled mine for this.
Yeah, well,
you're the second person this week who said that, and I don't believe either of you.
No, I don't. And the fact is, you're still going to play 72 holes before the weekend, so I don't actually feel that bad for you.
Well,
so, all right, we're going to do 10 frames with the Ped. I mean, Randy Pedersen. Yeah.
All right, can't wait for this.
Yeah. All right. If you could have a stage name.
Dirk Diggler.
Have you ever been in handcuffs?
Yes.
Go on.
Coming out of the bowl in Medford, Oregon 20 years ago, whenever we were there, bowling center was
yeah. They had the trap set up for everybody.
Yeah, it was 2 blocks from the hotel. I'd recently had eye surgery. I had a thing called a pterygium removed twice from my left eye. And so late at night, tired, it gets really, really bloodshot. I remember having 2 draft beers with Dave Schroeder, get in the car, drive home. They pull me over, give me a sobriety test, which I pass. And then the guy does the light in my eyes and he goes, yeah, we're taking you in. I go in, I blow, I'm under the at that time they had a limit, but if they felt you were impaired, it didn't matter what you blew, right? I blew under their limit, went there, told them about my eye, they let me go.
So Richie Wolfe is here as well. Went to watch a friend bowl a PTQ in Baltimore. I was carrying a couple of bowling balls. I was busy watching. Fell, dropped the balls, sounded like a train wreck. Randy threw in the face for the 710, missed the cut by a few. ...
Oh my God, there's been a Rich Wolfe sighting. Talk about a complete underachiever.
Oh, wow. All right.
Richie is a dear friend. He had one of the most beautiful games ever. I don't know of a tour player that ever pulled harder for Richie to win out there. But just one of the best games I've ever seen.
Best worst roommate on tour?
Dave Traber.
And why? And which one?
Dave?
Is it best or worst?
Oh, the worst is Dave Traber. The best, Justin Romick. Dave Traber farted in his sleep, snored like there was a train coming through the room. He wore tighty-whities, and that body should never wear tighty-whities. Justin Romick was the best because there's not a better human being on the planet than Justin Romick.
Fair enough. All right. Most spontaneous thing you've ever done?
Yeah. Most spontaneous. I got nothing.
Other than saying you've seen a lot of dick.
I guess I'm not very spontaneous. I guess I have to kind of think about stuff.
All right.
I don't know.
Enough. How many times have you shaved your legs or worn a bra? Oh, wait a minute. That was for Kimberly. Sorry. Still circled here. This is when my wife had this sheet.
So you had her on the show before me as well.
That was
No.
to be fair.
That's not true. We didn't.
Yeah, Sue and I did not. Our wives did. It was a Mother's Day special. We made them work on Mother's Day. We got it under control. It's under wraps. Right, honey?
King of the castle. King of the castle.
That's right. Right as long as she lets me. Yeah. So, do you have a go-to joke?
Yeah, I can tell you right now. You want to hear it?
Sure.
Here's my go-to joke, and it's PG rated. Go-to joke. This guy working Wall Street had enough, completely fried. Says, I'm gonna condense this a little for you. He says, I'm gonna get off the grid. I'm moving to Alaska. Moves to Alaska, middle of the wilderness. He's living in a log cabin, wood burning stove. 6 months he sees no one, speaks to no one, no cell phone, no internet, no nothing. He's got his coffee brewing the next morning, sitting on the wood burning stove. All of a sudden, there's a knock at the door. It's like, what the hell? He opens the door and there's a guy standing there, and the guy goes, "Hey, neighbor, how are you? I'm here to welcome you to the neighborhood. I live about 10 miles up. Well, there's not really a road, but I'm about 10 miles over there. And I know you're new to the neighborhood, so I thought I'd come by and welcome you to the Christmas party." I was like, wow, that's great. I haven't seen or spoken to anyone in 6 months. It sounds like fun. The guy says, yeah, well, listen, just so you know, at the Christmas party, we do a little drinking. We do a little drinking at the Christmas party. The guy goes, awesome. I haven't had a drop of alcohol in 6 months. The guy goes, yeah, but something else you should know, like at the Christmas party, when we do a little drinking, sometimes some hot, wild sex can break out. The guy's like, that's great. I haven't had sex in 6 months. Tell me, what should I wear to the Christmas party? The guy goes, yeah, it really doesn't matter. It's just going to be you and me.
There you go. All right. Well,
that's one other thing that we don't really touch on enough.
Welcome, Steve.
Randy is a big supporter of the military does all of Storm's military events. That's actually where that picture that we used for the show came from.
Yep.
When you were, I cut Marshall out of that like a bad habit.
You sure did. Yeah, that was at Whiteman Air Force Base just outside of Kansas City. A great story, real quick. I know you guys we're way past our allotted time. Chris has got a tea time, but that my hand was on an A-10 Warthog, which they call them tank busters, but they're designed to protect the troops on the ground. But Whiteman is also the home of the B-2 bomber. And Marshall and I actually got a tour and sat inside the cockpit of a B-2 bomber. So that was pretty cool.
I won 2 regionals there. They had the stealth bombers there.
Yeah, the B-2s.
Yeah, the B-2s. Yeah, well,
yeah.
For those of us who are not as initiated, but watching those fly around up there was really cool.
It's sick.
It's
Stewie, from front to back, they're about 10 feet long, and from wingtip to wingtip, they're about 150 feet long. It's really crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they turn the side, and there's this giant footprint in the sky, and they turn the other way. You can't see it.
Yeah. Front to
Crazy.
back, it's nothing, and then the wingspan is, I don't know how long. It's incredible.
Sure. Cool thing.
So you've been there. That's awesome.
Let's see. I don't know if we have anything else, actually.
Kansas.
What is something no one else knows about you?
What's that?
What's something no one else knows about you?
I don't know. I'm pretty much an open book. I think most of it's been put out there, I think. Oh, here's something that somebody doesn't know about me. And this happened way before the pandemic. Like I don't really have any superstitions or anything. I mean, maybe some little stuff, right? But there is one thing that I can't stand. I can't stand touching restaurant menus. I don't like touching menus. Well, I have to have my hands, and then I open, and then I immediately clean my hands, and I'm like, because I'm like, oh my God, everybody and their brothers touched this thing, and now I'm going to put my fingers in my mouth and eat my food. So yeah, that's the one kind of peeve I have, I guess.
See, I've got a tip for you. I don't know whether it's got here yet. In England, we use these things called knife and fork.
Yeah. Well, when you eat like
mouth then.
Well, Stu, when you eat like I do, a lot of it's finger food.
Yeah, I mean, does it really take a menu to order the number 5?
That sounds like a Jersey Mike's reference, or maybe a Five Guys.
It's more like a Tommy reference, and it's probably more like the number 2.
No. Number 2, meat on ketchup. Go.
Oh gosh. Next, any more?
All right. Last one. Your favorite Japanese word to yell?
I could get into trouble for this.
Most people won't know what it means, though. So
they'll look it up. It'll be all over the internet. I would say shine.
Yeah.
Go kill yourself.
I thought you might have yourself down to none to stop.
Sumimasen, arigatou gozaimasu. Toilet wa doko desu ka? Ah, so desu ne. Hey, Chris, just so you know, I just asked you where the bathroom was.
Yeah. That's much nicer than what you normally do. Sure. Yeah. Well, for now, that's all we have. I have a feeling you may not be the last time we ask you to come on, or probably will be the last time you accept. But
not a chance. It was great, guys. If I give me a sec to say thanks so much for having me on. Obviously, we're going through some pretty tough times in today's day and age in this country and all over the world. But it's always great to see friends and to spend an hour and a half with your buddies having a great time. It's pretty special, and I really appreciate you guys asking me on. Thank you.
Oh, no worries, Randy. Thanks for coming on. You classied up the joint.
Next time I'll dress up.
As long as we're wearing a Storm or Road Grip logo, Mr. Christmas happy, and that's all that really matters, isn't it?
Yep.
I tell you what, next time I'll wear pants. Let's make it easy.
I had a feeling you weren't wearing any pants.
If I stand up here, just
something was telling me you weren't wearing any pants. I was just like, I bet he's not wearing pants.
Don't have to worry about tucking the shirt in then.
that doesn't look very well now after the quarantine 20 anyway. So
yeah, I hear you. Yeah, you guys give my best to your families. Okay.
Thanks, Randy.
Okay, buddy. You guys take care.
All right, take care.
See ya.
Bye. Well, that was as entertaining as we hoped. Randy was on great form. So yeah, we've actually me and Chris have actually planned our shows out a little bit now. We got back on track. So on Tuesday, 10 a.m., we have Brad and Kyle coming on. they're going to give us a preview or a rundown or the details of they're actually running a ladies tournament, Brad and Kyle Open. I believe it is in St. Louis, and it's on August 15th. So apart from that, I have no more details. But if you check out some of their stuff, you can find it. And they're going to come on and, let us know what they've been up to.
That sounds like good. All right. Well, I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to go chase a white ball right and then left in true military style in the form of this show. So until Tuesday, have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, support small business, and God bless.
See you later.